Before I get to the games today, I just want to make a quick announcement. I will be hosting another tournament on Play OK next Saturday, March 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had a lot of success the last time we did this, so we're going to do it again. It will be geared toward beginner and intermediate type of players, so hopefully if you weren't able to attend the first time around, you can attend next Saturday. I'll be putting the additional details in the description below. So, for the games today, I had a lot of comments and a lot of feedback given to me directly about the Tennessee tournament. And as you all know, Alex Holmes, we reviewed some of his games in the previous video. And people were wondering, well, he finished runner-up, so what about the games that he lost? Well, he ended up losing 2 games in the tournament, both to the eventual tournament winner, Vadim Lapin, and that's one of the games I'm going to feature today. So this has happened in the last round. Alex Holmes had the red pieces and Vadim had the white pieces, and the opening they balloted was 9-13, 24-19, and 6-9. So they both ended up playing the same initial attack and actually the same initial defense as well. They ended up playing a secondary attack. They ended up playing this 28-24 move, which I think is good. After 11-15, it can really transpose into some really good play here. This 22-18 is probably seen a little bit more regular. And again, after 11-15, 9-14, and it's a pretty even game. There is definitely some pull for white in the mid-game. But they ended up playing this 28-24 move, and then they also both played this flanking move 11-16. This move is sound, but it definitely makes for a little bit more of a uphill climb for the first side. So now that red is committed 11-16, white can more or less dominate the center of the board, which is what Vadim does. So he plays 22-18 next. Alex is more or less forced to go into the 20 square, which he does. And now Vadim's just going to continue to develop toward the center of the board from the single corner, all very natural moves. Alex goes 8-11. And then the full column buildup with 29-25. Now, Alex, in retrospect, was considering maybe 11-16, maybe even 10-14. But he told me he was a little bit disappointed with this next move, and that's 9-14, because what this does, breaks up the double corner and allows white to sustain increasing pressure on it. So, after 9-14. And now again, white can just attack the double corner by going 22-18 next. Alex covers up by going 1-5. And now this next move is very good by Vadim. What he does is he decides, because there's not a whole lot of development from red, he can make this radical 23-18 exchange and completely dominate the center of the board. Typically, I would recommend against moves that will totally disrupt the middle core of your board, but in this case, it works out well because red is not developed nearly enough. So after 23-18, the captures, and then capturing toward the center of the board. Now, Alex correctly plays the next best move on the board, and that's to disrupt some of this center going on here for white. And Alex goes 11-15 next to get rid of this piece on 18. And once again, Vadim is going to eliminate any sort of further inroad here, and it's just going to go 23-18 again, cementing another piece on 18 and capturing control of the center of the board. Now again, in retrospect, Alex says maybe 4-8, 8-11 should have been the next progression of moves. Instead, he develops 3-7 next. Vadim just goes 25-22 out of the single corner. And then this may be the losing move here for Alex. Again, 4-8 still may work, but instead Alex goes 7-11, really tying things up for the first side. So what Vadim does is he goes 31-26. 30-26 may also work, but he plays 31-26. Now Alex will wait with 4-8. After 26-23, Alex is going to try to make a move again to get into the back row, but the timing just isn't there. After 18-15, 10-14 probably still a loss. Alex goes to 6. And then after 21-17 and 16-20, Alex resigned at this point because white can just go 23-18, capture this piece, and then wreak havoc in the back row. So again, that was a game that Alex lost, ended up costing him the championship, but it was a great game by both players, and hopefully you enjoyed it. These next couple of games are against a good friend of the channel. His name is Patrick, but you all may know him better as Winning Checkers. That is his name on YouTube, and if you haven't checked out his channel, I highly recommend doing so. He really talks about understanding the true fundamentals of the game, and he focuses on learning and mastering one defense and one or two opening moves. I believe 22-18 is what he recommends as the best defense to learn against all of Red's opening moves, which really isn't a bad thing, and it can really jumpstart your game. So if you're learning, or if you're looking to learn about one sort of opening sequence, I really recommend checking out his channel. He plays a lot of games, and he's really a very, very good player. So we played every once in a while, and we played some games in the past, and we didn't always record them. I know he recorded these last 3 games that we played. I did not record them. He has one up already. I believe he's going to publish the other 2. For me, I just memorized the first 2 games. The third game I remember parts of, but certainly I'll try to get into the habit of recording games. And we did play on Fly or Die. On Play OK, all games are recorded that they're rated, which is a nice feature too. So, but I'm going to go over the 2 games that we played, at least that I've remembered, and kind of give my analysis and highlights as well. So what we played in the first game, I had the red pieces and he had the white pieces, and I opened 10-15. For those that know me and that play me online, I will never open 11-15. I just won't unless it's a 3-move ballot. I just don't play that move. So 10-15 is how I opened, and he replied 22-18, which is, again, that's what he teaches his audience. And again, it's really a nice move. You cannot go wrong with 22-18 against any of Red's opening moves. So after the exchange, and this opening, of course, is called the Kelso single. And what I do is I play this 9-13 move. Now you may think, well, 9-13 is off to the side of the board, the weakest move to make, but actually in the Kelso single, just like in the regular single corner, it's actually very strong because it prevents any other additional development. So after 9-13, he starts to develop out of his single corner, and now I'm going to take off this piece on 18 by going 11-15 next. So I have good control of the center right now. It's a very restrictive move. After 25-22, I'm going to start developing out of my single corner with 4-8. Now, typical published play gives 23-18 best, followed up by 8-11, but instead, Patrick takes 24-19, taking this piece off 15. This is a sound move, but I think 23-18 is probably technically better. So after 24-19, I'm just going to develop 8-11, and what he plays next is this 27-24. Now, I thought for a while here, I realized things are probably going to ultimately transpose into the same. What I wanted to do is I wanted to flank off to the side of the board, so I'm going to play 7-10 next here, really preventing 22-18 from happening because you have the 10-15 jump there. So after 7-10, he plays 24-20, so now he's off to the side of the board. I'm going to play 2-7 next, and then what he does is he is going to further limit himself in this part of the board by exchanging 19. Again, it's a good sound move, nothing wrong with it at all in this situation here. So even though he has my 3 pieces here somewhat limited and restricted, he really also can't do much on this side of the board either, and plus his double corner is almost obliterated. So I'm going to attack this area of the board by going 10-15. He shores up by going 31-27. Again, I'm just going to develop further out of my double corner toward his. He goes 27-23. I'm going to go 5-9 next. He goes 32-28, looking to ultimately maybe make some trading power here. After 9-14, he sinks the piece because he's starting to run out of moves a little bit here. And now I go 1-6. Now, there's still a draw on the board, and a draw was missed. The drawing sequence is actually 28-24. Now I have to go 14-17. And then after 23-18, I have to play 6-9, and then the 2 for 2 will result in a really clean-cut draw game. But that 28-24 was not played, and instead 23-19 was played, and this is probably the losing move in the game. So after the exchanges, I'm going to play 11-15 next, forcing 16-19. I then press this piece on 22 with 14-18. I'd be curious to see how this would play out. Obviously jumping this way first, but it's probably also a loss. Patrick covers up 30-25. I exchange the piece off 26. He goes 22-18 next because he doesn't want me to play 10-14 or 10-15 next, but I'm going to wait anyways. So after 22-18, I'm just going to go toward the king row. He then goes to 16-11. But an important note to make here is he cannot just go behind me because what I do next is the 6-9 move. So if he tries to go behind me now, you just have 10-14, and I'm going to take one of his two pieces. So instead, he is forced into the single corner. I'm going to get a king. He gets a king as well, but the timing is not there because this piece will be captured, which is exactly what happens in this game. And then he is just starting to run out of moves. And at this point, he resigned the game. So that was the first game that we played. And now I will talk about the second game that we played. Okay, and this is the second game we played. I had the white pieces, and Patrick, winning checkers, had the red pieces. We played this game about 3 weeks ago, just like we played that previous game. And I'm doing this all from memory, so I think the move order may not be 100% accurate, but certainly the formations are accurate in these games. So he starts 11-15. Again, I believe he plays 11-15 in almost all of his games. I think he may make some exceptions here or there, but again, Old Faithful, 11-15 is the strongest way to begin the game. For those of you that play me online, know that I pretty much play only one defense, and that is the Waterloo. So it starts out as a cross, 23-18, but then after 8-11, which is what the majority of people will play, I go this 18-14. Now again, I don't recommend playing this line. It's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of intricacies to it, so I don't recommend playing it. The reason why I do play it is because I've been playing it now for almost 20 years. This is just my favorite line. I've studied it extensively, so I'm very comfortable with it. But it's not easy at all. So I'd recommend, if you're wanting to play the Waterloo, have fun with it, experiment with it, but I don't really recommend playing it as a really good, worthwhile defense. So after the jump, of course, this is the Waterloo sequence here. Taking the double. And then a lot of texts give this center capture, but I always play this side jump. Again, I don't recommend this. It's only because I've been playing it for so long and for so often. So again, that's just, it's my personal favorite. We all have our favorites. We all have our pet lines. This is my pet line. So Patrick is going to play the natural progression here, which is 11-15. This is all very natural, all very good, all very sound. Very common sequence. I see this all the time in online play, which is why I move very quickly. So all very good, all very standard. Some of the moves may look a little strange to you. Ultimately, I will get into the Waterloo in more detail, but for now, I'm just going to show you just the moves so you can maybe become a little bit more acquainted with some of these formations. So this next move that Patrick makes is a little out of the ordinary. I think it's sound, but definitely inferior. 3-7 is probably the best move to make, and then playing 6-9 afterward. Instead, he plays 2-7. I'm going to go 30-26. And then 3-8. Now, these next moves are actually, it's a forced really ending from here on out for me. I had been familiar with this. This is a common, maybe not super common, but I've definitely played this before many times, and it involves a very pretty pitch that will win the game for the second side. So after 3-8, I'm going to lock him in by going 26-22. Can't play 8-11 because you have the pitch here, so he goes 7-11. I'm going to lock in these pieces now by going 23-19, so really it's just limited to one or two moves. After 6-9, I'm going to go 17-13. Again, more or less forcing 1-6. He can't go 18-23 because even after this capture, I'll still be a piece up. So he covers up. This is where the pitch comes into play. I pitch 20-16 because otherwise he is just going to go 18-23 next. So I pitch 20-16. And now I'm going to start developing 31-26. After 8-11, again all forced, I'm going to go 26-23. And now if he goes 11-16 next, I'm just going to go 22-17 and the game is over. Instead he pitches back with 12-16. And then after 11-16, I just go 22-8 or 22-17, and then he really doesn't have any moves. He does make this 15-19, but as you can see here, after the jumping sequence, and as you can see, White is a piece ahead and will win the game. We ended up playing a little bit longer, but Patrick resigned just a few moves later from this game. So this was the second game that we played. The third game that we played really quickly, and it's unfortunate that I don't remember all of it. But Patrick does have it, and I believe Patrick will publish it on his YouTube page, so I recommend checking it out whenever he does do that. But I know that I had the red side, he had the white side, and I played the Bristol. I played 11-16. He went 24-20, and I ended up just, again, I wanted to just play some three-move openings, so I went 7-11. This is all good. It really transposes into a regular sort of Dundee formation, and I believe this is the sequence that we ended up playing. It's a very good sequence. Nothing wrong with this at all. And I believe we ended up playing something like this. I don't recall the rest of the game, which is unfortunate because it was a very pretty game. I believe I was in trouble in the mid-game, but ended up winning on a pretty interesting tactical formation. I do recall that. So, but anyways, again, I recommend checking out his channel. He does a really great job. And I've been talking with Dennis Pollock, who recently published some more about opening moves on his Start Checkers page. So I highly recommend checking him out. It's just a regular website. He's not on YouTube. But really the animations are very nice, and he does a great job. So I recommend checking out Start Checkers. So I hope you enjoyed these 3 games that I showed. And if any of you want to send in your games, would like me to analyze them, I'm more than happy to do so. Again, looking forward to seeing hopefully a lot of you next Saturday at the tournament. And thanks, as always, for watching.